Good afternoon. Well, belated Christmas, belated Hanukkah, belated Kwanzaa, and anticipatory New Year's. Last Friday, I had an operation on my right eye, and among other things, I am allowed to walk if I do so slowly and sort of keep my head forward because the drop of air they put in my eye allows it to heal. And when I return from this walk, I'll be putting my face down so that the bubble of air can do its business. It sounds scary, doesn't it? Well, they literally taped my head down to the mat, and I had sedation, so I was awake during it, and I could hear them talk and everything. And I don't know. I'm much more concerned about the outcome. I won't know the outcome until this bubble of air disappears, and then I can see, or not, through my eye. And the sight has to do with a tiny little hole that affected my vision at that location at anything I looked at. So the hope is that I will have a full field of vision, and it's possible I'll have the problem will persist, so I won't know for some time yet. Actually, maybe a couple of weeks. So what brings me out on this day to talk? There are a couple of thoughts I had, which are, I think, a framework of how to look at what we're suffering through as a democracy in danger, facing the Huns, if you will, who prefer an autocracy. And this is not a new question. I mean, the question going back to Plato and Aristotle was about trusting the people. And can we trust the people? And that's why in a democracy we have a republican form of government, and we try to build in safeguards. And that's what the founding fathers, no women need apply, did. So we have this nation that would be a republic based on a democracy, particularly in the legislative branch. So what is going on in the world that makes us in conflict? We're all familiar with heliotropism, which is when a flower has the consciousness to alert to light and to follow the light during the day. And it's really hard to say that there isn't something more than it's just a plant when that can happen, and people take it to extremes. But I'd like to treat heliotropism as a metaphor for our consciousness. Some of us develop a sense of virtue, and we follow that. We follow it by genetics, perhaps, by training, by thinking, by teachers, by logic, by emotion. And these are the kind of people that we want in leadership positions. These are the kind of people that assure a government works, or a business, or a family. This aspect of virtue. It's like a Platonic ideal, that it is pure, and it's a choice that's made, sometimes with courage, with patience, with resolve, and so forth. The opposite of virtue is vice. And what kind of person turns in a heliotropic way toward vice? Well, we can name a few. We know Trump, for example. We know Rudy Giuliani. We have a host of them. We have Eastman. And we all have them in a study that's been released. And we can look at that study and we can see those who turned toward vice. Now, there's something wrong about our coverage when people do not recognize the vice. They presume, perhaps because they're virtuous, that when somebody does something wrong, there must be some explanation for it. But there are people who don't give a damn, in the sense that They don't think it matters. It doesn't matter what they do. They only want to win, prevail, have what they want, and there are no rules for them. That is, truth, honesty, loyalty, any of these things, empathy. None of those things apply to these people. And so when we talk about these people, we have to realize they don't have a heliotropic turn toward virtue. Rather, they turn toward vice. And vice is nothing new under the sun, but we talk as if we're surprised when people show us their vice. Make no pretense at it. So we shouldn't be surprised about it, and we should react against it. Now, my exercise since the full report has come out is to go through the report, and I haven't finished yet, and to pick out the aspects of vice that I think inform our discretion, what is an appropriate response as a virtuous people to those who know no virtue, who only indulge themselves in vice. And so, for example, on page 196, I think it is, in chapter 1, they talk about when did Trump decide to say he'd won, knowing he'd lost. First that he was going to lose, then that he did lose. And it's ironic because the pairing on election day was there was one advisor, Rudy Giuliani, who wanted Trump to declare victory. From the beginning to now, Rudy Giuliani has proved a failure to the virtue that I perceived in him when we shared the U.S. Attorney's Office and were working on cases together. And somewhere along the line, he turned from virtue to vice. Anything goes. And he's in a collective of these people. And when we hear Department of Justice apologists say, it's so hard to prosecute these people, shut them out of your mind. Complain about it. Because there are things that have to be done, and have to be done right, and have to be done from beginning to end. And when you have an offense like we have here, like is found in the report, and that we know and have seen and are overcome with, and we can hardly meditate or think about it anymore, we know we have to do something about it. We have to have an accounting. And anybody who fails that standard fails America and fails democracy. So, I'm going to travel slowly and take care of my eye. And if I feel up to it, I'll come out again tomorrow. And I'll walk a bit and look for a heliotropic agent here in my cathedral of trees. All the best. Bye-bye.